Another year has come and gone, leaving us with some absolutely brilliant games that took up a significant chunk of our annual gaming hours. But of course, some of their worlds have just been better than others, with gameplay loops that keep you on the move but never far enough from something interesting to discover. We quite like the worlds that set us loose right from the get-go, sprinkling interesting distractions along the way to keep us exploring away until our eyes or hands or even our controllers demand some rest. And 2025 has quite a few of those titles, with each experience bringing a very unique bunch of mechanics to keep things interesting. So with that said, we have a few that are believed to be a cut above their peers. The nominees for the best open world games of 2025 are Where Winds Meet. Everstone Studios has blended wuxia with an action RPG adventure whose sprawling lands and bustling cities are a stage for a very ambitious take on player agency and freedom. This is a world that actively encourages going off the beaten track, its systems being a reward on their own for diligent players. But that's not all. With the game actively including clever touches upon actual history and using that to blend in fantasy elements makes for an experience that's a wuxia fever dream. Where Winds Meet deserves a place of honor among 2025's best RPGs for its sheer scale, ambition, and the sense of freedom that it gives you from the get-go. Dying Light: The Beast. By making the Castor Woods feel like a character in Kyle's latest adventure, this open-world survival horror loop never fails to entertain. You never know what you might end up against as you leave the safety of your hideouts, while the night conceals terrors that can bring a very quick end to your strolls. But it's in how the world blends several activities and a well-written story together with some excellent parkour-based traversal and new powers for your character to make an experience that continues to call out to us long after we rolled credits on it. Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2. A worthy successor to the first title, Deliverance 2 builds on everything that was great in the first game while expanding on it in both scale and quality. Its story brings a lot of interesting twists to the tale, while the wit and charm of its characters and NPCs can both be endearing and amusing. This is a world where exploration feels like a very entertaining trek through a world in which you can find both conflict and comedy in equal measures as you go where the roads take you on your quest to witness an end to Henry's story. The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion Remastered. This one definitely was a surprise when it was shadow dropped by the developers earlier in the year, but it certainly isn't a surprise that it made its way back into our hearts after the many years since its original release. A brilliant visual overhaul aside, improved animations and a revamped enemy AI made the entire adventure feel quite immersive. That's quite an advantage in an open world like Cyrodiil, where there's just as much to tease out through careful exploration and countless battles. This is a nostalgia fix that you shouldn't miss out on, and a must-try if you haven't and missed the original game. Assassin's Creed Shadows. Ancient Japan's chapter of the Assassins finally made it into our hands, and Naoe and Yasuke did not disappoint. The Anvil engine brought this excellent recreation of feudal Japan to life in a giant map that was both dazzling to see and riveting to explore. With secrets to discover, targets to hunt down, fortresses to raid, and so much more, the changing seasons are a showcase of how this game continues to stand tall among 2025's best RPGs, as resilient as the snow-capped structures it recreates so beautifully. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. Sam Porter's second adventure was bound to be more ambitious than the first one, but On the Beach brings an astounding level of visual flair, engaging gameplay, and a vast world for you to work your magic on this time around. The game's opening hour was enough to showcase how Kojima Productions has managed to bring a sequel worthy of its predecessor in every way, while doing enough to stand out on its own as an open-world title that's unforgettable and melancholically haunting. Elden Ring: Night Reign. While it can be easy to see open-world games as ones that have you gradually explore their maps and take things at a generally slower pace, From Software's roguelike debut put on a timer on that exploration, and gave you a set of moves and traversal methods that were built for efficiency and speed. Making your way across a map before the night begins to eat away at your life force demands strategy and skill, and taking on the many threats you find along the way with player-controlled nightfarers at your side could lead to some truly memorable battles or some epic fails, and either way, this one's a great option for players who like to pick up the pace. Tokyo Xtreme Racer. Roaming the streets of Tokyo in your quest to become a street racing legend is a very entertaining part of this game's racing experience. Challenging racers from rival gangs or just looking to make a mark on their own is never going to get old, and this is a title that is entertaining to both pro and casual racing fans. This is definitely worth a shot if street racing in an open world is your thing, and is sure to give you more than a few challenging tracks to take on and rivals to beat. Ghost of Yotei. Atsu takes over the reins from Jin Sakai in a sequel that has cemented the Ghost franchise as a powerhouse in PlayStation's lineup of exclusives. This is a world in which serene beauty, deadly dangers, and riveting stories are waiting to be found, the wind at your back slowly guiding you to them. Of course, there's the entire quest for revenge and your blood feud to tend to, but they often take a back seat when an adorable little bird flits into view, urging you to follow it to potentially new discoveries. Etso is a world that's a treat to explore despite the many dangers that you're going to have to face down, weapons drawn, and reflexes at the ready. Mario Kart World. Among the more popular additions to the open world genre, this successor to Mario Kart 8 was quite an upgrade, adding new mechanics, systems, and massive environments teeming with challenges to take on for its players. The game pulled no punches with Mario Kart World, and the effort has made the game's world as entertaining now as it was when we first began racing on it. And given the decent competition in the genre, that is an achievement worth having. Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon. Retracing the legend of King Arthur in this darker take on the king's story was an interesting time, with a frankly astounding number of quests that you can find in its open world. Dealing with the Red Death and the weirdness is often a catalyst for smaller, more nuanced tales that tell you more about the world that once was, while also giving emotional heft to the world that now exists. It's a map that takes you to places you cannot forget once you visit them, while the game's other systems and story work well to have you forgetting the hours as you immerse yourself into this adventure. Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl, PS5. With GSC finally bringing out the PS5 version of Stalker 2 and making great use of the console's unique features, the experience that the studio set out to deliver is finally here. The zone has everything you'd expect from a title in this iconic franchise, and exploring it is a gaming experience that remains unique among its peers. This is a title that keeps you on your toes, its story and the grind for survival working well to make your character feel like the predator and the prey. This one is definitely worth checking out if you haven't had the chance to experience a very unique flavor of mayhem. Days Gone Remastered, PS5. While the choice to remaster Days Gone might have raised a few eyebrows, this remaster is now the best way to experience the original title's utter unpredictability and terrifying chases through uncharted territory with hordes of vicious zombies on your tail. Deacon's harrowing adventure is a great story and an even greater launchpad for an open world experience that's both chilling and engaging. It's just you, your motorcycle, the open road, and of course, the zombies in a game that can stay with you long after it completes its story. Borderlands 4. It was a joy to rejoin the ranks of the Vault Hunters after all this time and take on the Timekeeper in this addition to the Borderlands franchise, with laughs and a thrilling looter-shooter making this one a very fun way to enjoy your gaming hours. This is an open world that can have you lost in its cel-shaded adventures. It's also a great option to get your buddies together for some cooperative play in a map that can have a ton of fun just waiting for you to discover. Stalker: Legends of the Zone Trilogy Enhanced Edition. If you're wondering what the fuss about the Stalker franchise is all about, this one is a great way to experience the original games in all of their glory and then some. With improvements to both visuals and performance on each of the 3 titles packed in, there is a lot to like in this bundle thanks to how the Stalker games are engaging enough to gain a following over the years. These are worlds that you just cannot miss thanks to how memorable they have managed to be despite the years that followed their release. While each of these games brought a lot of fun and innovation to the table, we must pick a winner. The winner of the best open world game of 2025 is Ghost of Yotei. Atsu's story and her trip across Etso is simply too well crafted to be ignored in favor of other games. This is an open world that engages you with just as much as you interact with. It's alive and humming, willing you to listen and follow its paths to your next hours of adventure. Mount Yotei and its surroundings have been a pleasure to explore, and Sucker Punch has nailed its take on a turbulent land.
And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at GamingBolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.